so important. I had like 1,000 people reaching out to me and saying, please, can we get here? Please, can we see Tom? So thank you so much for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I did nothing. Check.
You just did it.
I did nothing. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Том, я знаю, что вы уже... Ага, я.
Oh, yeah.
Том, я знаю, что вы в России уже были, правильно? А что насчет Москвы? Удалось уже до этого приезда посетить наш город славный? Ага.
Was that translated?
Yes, did it work?
No? Okay, run that by me. What did you just say?
So I said that I know you've been to Russia before, right? But have you been to the capital already?
No, I've never been to the capital before, so this is my first time, and I'm really enjoying myself. And it's a shame that I'm only here for such a short time, because I'd like to see much more of the city and the country. It's a big country.
Ох, очень большая страна. Том, а что успели уже сделать сегодня в Москве? Я знаю, что вы только прилетели, но все-таки что-то уже успели, может быть, посмотреть.
This isn't translated.
This isn't translated. Okay, I'm gonna translate it for you. I just wanted to ask you, what have you been doing? What have you been up today already? What did you do in Moscow? What did you see? Whom did you meet?
I had a nice perambulate through a new park and to across the bridge to take a selfie, the selfie bridge apparently.
That's actually so true. That's what we call it.
Pretty sure it's not called that.
We call it like this.
And then the ice. There was an ice cave or an installation, an ice installation, which was nice and cold. Which I enjoyed, and basically enjoying the hospitality of the team that are out here looking after me.
We try our best. So Tom, you can try this one.
New one.
Yeah, maybe this will work. Перевести ли у вас тын-тын-тын? А я все равно не запомнил, чтобы перевести.
Yeah, which like comes.
Is it better? Это лучше? Лучше. Раз, два, три. Переводится? Том, раз, два, три.
Yes.
Супер. Ура. Мы ту сцену, которую я лично видел из фильма «Веном», она просто потрясающая. Пару слов о самом сюжете картины. Расскажите нам, пожалуйста, Том.
Okay, so Venom is obviously a character, for those who are uninitiated, and for those who already are massive fans of Venom, bear with me, so because you already know who he is. But he's a character from the Marvel comic book world. He's an alien, but it's not just about him. He's connected intrinsically at a symbiotic level with his host, Eddie Brock, who I play on the right there, and not the guy on the left, that's Venom. And he basically, the guy on the left, lives in me, and not necessarily something that I asked for or wanted, but something that happens, and the two of them have to negotiate the terms of living together in one body. And then technically, in inverted commas, you would have a situation whereby this superhero or super being would fight crime or take on the world, or the good versus bad story, or light and darkness. But actually, it's much more interesting than that. What you have is for me anyway, a comic book character who sort of completely puts that to a side and deals ultimately with something much less binary. There's no good or bad, there's just what Venom wants to do, when he wants to do it, if he wants to do it. So you have a creature who has tremendous capability, who can choose whether to do good with it or bad at any given moment.
То есть получается, что все-таки, если вы говорите, что Веном, он неплохой, не хороший, все-таки, это отрицательный герой, правильно? Но вот в самом Веноме есть что-то, за что можно зацепиться, что-то хорошее, что его вытянет из пустоты?
Yeah, I think ultimately, for me, the concept of being able to do what you want, when you want, regardless of the consequences, is something that is fun to explore as an investigation into our psychology as human beings. You know, in my belief, we all have an inside voice that tells us what we would like to do, but we don't necessarily act upon it. Mm-hmm. You know, we have to conform to social etiquette, social symbolic order, and do the right thing by our fellow citizens and whatever we believe in, you know, as a community. Whereas Venom bypasses all of that by just doing exactly what he wants when he wants to do, and I think the correct place to do this, like, is on in our art and in our work where we can truly express that. I think that's good and healthy.
То есть, по сути, если представить, что свобода — это самое главное, что у нас есть, то Веном — король вот этой истории, да, король свободы. Это, в принципе, то, чему можно поучиться.
I suppose there's a primal element to freedom, which is not even necessarily a human quality.
Yeah.
It's just a concept or an ideology of true freedom, but that's really close to anarchy and chaos as well. And it's the precipice of not being able to control a true quality of freedom in some aspect. And so hence, you've got Eddie Brock there who's trying to negotiate the terms from a very human point of view, which is riddled with the paradox of the human condition. It's got a lot of sort of analysis, fun work to do in there for me, because I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to acting, and I want to do. And ultimately, it's a fun superhero comic movie too, you know. But I think the argument is there's a Jekyll and Hyde world going on there between interior dynamics of psychoanalytical sort of stuff, which is fun.
Можно один вопрос от меня, не могу его не задать, воспользуюсь положением. Я прочитал, что работа с вами, что Мишель Уильямс, например, говорила, это просто какой-то сюрприз и праздник постоянно, потому что каждая сцена может пойти совершенно не так, как вы планировали, и это может быть много импровизации, это что-то необыкновенное. И она говорит, я иду на каждую работу с Томом как на праздник, и немножечко даже побаиваюсь. Вот это то, о чем вы говорите, да, что вы гик в работе.
Why are you scared?
Me scared?
No, was that bad?
Oh,
Michelle Williams.
Did I say that?
I think maybe it's the unpredictable nature of playfulness and jouissance. But it's without consequence. Remember, we're at work and we're professionals, you know what I mean? But I think more, that's a really high compliment coming from her, because I hold her as an actor and a performer in incredibly high regard. And working with her is also, to call her vernacular is a holiday also. She truly is a very special talent, an exceptional talent, and one of the best there is.
I correct a little bit. So what she said is not a holiday, like a celebration of the work. That's what she. Each scene with you is a celebration, you know.
Yeah, she likes to run, metaphorically speaking, at work, you know. So she has a lot of ability, and she has multifaceted, she's multi-dynamic, and she has a lot of optionality in her work. She's a very high-functioning artist.
Да. Но вернемся к вам. Ваш герой в фильме «Веном», он просто мастерски рассекает на байке. Вы вообще сами водите байк, или, может быть, пришлось... What is that smell?
I ride a bike, but I wobble a bit. But no, they have professionals to do things. Because you need to have somebody who's really good at what they do. So the kind of stunts that they're doing on the motorbike. Me, I can ride for pleasure, definitely. But I pull faces like a really fast stunt motorbike. So my profession is face pulling.
Ну, вот мы говорим об общем уже с вашим героем. А что еще общего?
Whoa. Internally, I suppose, like I said, the inside voice that I have, I have in common, but I don't act out on it, and I don't have the ability to turn into somebody who can back that up, Right. So I just have an inside voice that says all kinds of things, and I share that in common, and I don't think I'm alone in that, and I think that can lend itself to a lot of humor, and can also get you into a lot of trouble.
Том, такой вопрос, обожаю вот такие вот вопросы. На самом деле интересно узнать, если назвать 3 суперспособности, которыми вы бы хотели обладать, что бы это было? Вот прям серьезно.
What we're gonna seriously speak about having superpowers now. I haven't thought about it. I'd like to be like super dad, Just like be present and like get it right. And that's it really, pretty much, right? That's the most important thing.
И мне кажется, это самая сложная вообще способность, которая только может быть.
Yeah, that's impossible, right?
Yeah. И мы уже говорили о ваших, да, Том, мы уже говорили о ваших коллегах. Я хотел бы спросить о впечатлениях от работы с режиссером Рубеном Флейшером и, собственно, Мишель Уильямс.
Well, Ruben Fleischer, he showed us with Zombieland that, showed me that he could strike a really, really great balance between comedy and sort of gratuitous violence and darkness and, you know, like,
Sure.
which is a fine palette to play with, I think, for a material like this. So he's proved himself, and you can see why when you work with him. He has a very good sense of humor and dynamicism, and a good balance between that which is. And this is a step up because it's a little bit more dynamic. There's a lot more faster moving parts. So he stepped up to that challenge, and obviously he's dealt with the tone before, so it's a natural and logical progression for him, and he's a consummate professional. So a pleasure to work with him. It's always a pleasure to work with professionals. Right? And Michelle Williams, again, like I said before, she's a polydynamic, a unique talent. There's very few people out there that I've met who have the kind of ability and range that she has. So it's an honor to work with both of them, to be fair. It makes my life a lot easier.
Но если работа с режиссером и leading actors это сплошное наслаждение, может быть, были какие-то все-таки челленджи, с чем вы столкнулись? Самое сложное во время съемок этого фильма?
Nothing. I think any production is going to be challenging because of the nature of it has a lot of risk. And you want to, and in this, I suppose, immediately as I say that, things will pop up into my mind with my inside voice, right? That I will, that I edit. But I think, consciously speaking, one of the prime motivations of mission success, as it were, to complete a movie like Venom is how familiar Venom is to and how much beloved he is to comic book fans who are invested in years and years and years of being partnered with their characters. They love him, right? And me as a relative amateur to this world, you know, how do I, and I can present myself as a professional and immerse myself in anything to a degree, but I don't come with the legacy of knowledge that somebody who loves Venom will have. So there's a huge, not risk, but there's a pressure to a degree, rightly so, to present plate, to present front and forward, you know, to the audience, that this has been taken into account, that we have done our due diligence, and that I am going to observe and reflect faithfully, as best possible within the infrastructure that we Venom. So that was a key element of worry. But I think that yes, there's no spider on the chest, which is above my pay grade, and it's to do with lots of other moving parts that I have nothing to do with right now. But the depiction of Venom, I think, has been extremely faithful to the comics. And if we look at some of the images directly from comic book, they haven't deviated in any. If anything, they've recreated certain like elements of Venom accurately from comics books, like the Leader Protector series as well. So Paul Franklin, who headed up the VFX department, had worked tirelessly night and day for the last year plus on hundreds and hundreds and thousands of frames to bring a depiction of Venom to those fans that they recognize. And will be judged, and we know that.
He's so scary. They made him so scary.
He's good looking, right?
Yeah, that's scary. Tom, and then, you know, я люблю цифры, поэтому еще 3 причины, по которым российские кинолюбители должны пойти в кино, чтобы увидеть фильм «Веном».
Three reasons why lovers of movies or lovers of Venom.
3 reasons why our audience should go to the movies and see the movie Venom.
It's an exciting popcorn eating, you know, movie experience. You know, it's being made specifically to go and enjoy in the big screen with your family, if you feel that's appropriate. You know, I have a 10-year-old boy who has seen it and really, really loved it, and I know the power that these this genre has for an event to go out and enjoy. And you know, maybe however you feel is however you feel, but it's something to go out and watch. You know, and we took a lot of time and effort to do that, so I would appreciate it because I care, and you know, and we present it to you not just, you know, because we care and we want you to go and enjoy it in the cinema. Ultimately,
We'll go 100%.
thank you.
All of us. This is the first reason, but that's it, right?
This is
Two more.
Two more. Okay. Well, what I think Paul Franklin has done, just to separate one department, because there's multi-departments, from the stunts and the special effects guys to the visual effects guys to us humble face pullers that just tell a story, you know, the cohesive elements of the three working together. What they've done with the symbiote CGI and visual effects, I think you're not going to be seeing, you may well have seen like before, but this is another natural progression of that, and it's always interesting to see what the latest the people who are at the top of their game are playing with. So this is great to watch. And that's two.
I'm counting.
Three, I think it's an event piece. And an event piece is always important for people to go out and judge. And when people come out, there's nothing better than like hearing the response of an audience, even whether they like something or dislike it, they could do it better, what they would do if they could, if they should. I actively implore you to tell us what is not working, what you would like to change, and how you can participate in maybe developing the sequel with it. So it's an active participation as opposed to, you know, man, the film's not for me. Well, what do you want us to do with it? Because if you love him that much, some of us have got the skills to push it further for you. So what do you want us to do with it? That would be a personal thing, and I'd go and argue that.
Спасибо огромное, Том. Буквально пару вопросов из зала. Давайте вот вы. Да, девушка быстро.
Hello, Tom. My name is Yunona. I'm from Friday Channel. Я на русском спрошу.
Пожалуйста.
У Венома с помощью потрясающих спецэффектов очень эффектный и пугающий такой черный внешний вид. И, насколько я заметила, вы сегодня тоже сделали небольшую такую ставку на внешний вид. Я вижу у вас черный блестящий аксессуар, который вы взяли с собой. Можете сказать, откуда он у вас взялся? Шапку я имею в виду. Шапку.
This hat?
Да. Откуда она у вас? Расскажите.
This is not black and scary.
Oh, not at all.
It's a bit warm for today. Like it's hot out. This is a gift that was given to me today that I wore in the ice cave to keep my ears warm. And I'm very grateful for it. It will go in what I call my man cave back at home. All my manly souvenirs that I collect from around the world.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Пожалуйста. Фильма.
There's three questions there.
Pick one you like the most.
Well, you know, like, okay, like in order of appearance. Number one, yeah, the fans are really, they motivate you, and well, they motivate me, sorry, and especially in things that are as important to them as this is, like Mad Max was as well, or Batman, you know, they belong to the people in many aspects, you know, and that the sum of the people is far greater than I, so yes. That does, and one thing that's really struck me is how many artists are out there that have, you know, some provoked by, you know, the opportunity to deliver a poster that we can use with that marketing, and some just mostly because they love the character and get out their pens or their Procreate or their iTools or whatever they're playing with, you know, and they're just picture after picture of Venom and the imagination that, you know, obviously he taps into something that triggers people to want to develop and create pieces of art that are devoted to him. Find that really, really inspiring. So I present that on Instagram as you know, because I think that's a revelation in many aspects. Two, the question was,
Should we repeat it?
Yeah, because the third one is how did I
Третья
meet
часть
him?
вопроса. Ага. Каких он играл или вообще? Или от других
Oh,
комиксов?
no, from the previous comic book characters that I portrayed. Well, Bane was a villain, right? He was a bad guy. But no bad guys think they're bad guys. They're just bad, you know. Like in that aspect, but they don't think it. They're normally dealing with some kind of wound. Venom is it's irrelevant. There's no sort of ethical framework that is involved that is from this planet. So you're dealing with an entity that doesn't even it's very hard to sort of pin anything down that's not even human, because I am human. So you're playing in a space where it's more primal in that aspect. Of the negotiation of an ethical framework really comes from Eddie Brock, who's trying to navigate what life is going to be like for him, I suppose, with or without this alien being inside him. So in that case, he's different, and he's not a superhero to me, or he's a thing that presents itself. And in many ways, I think he's symbolic of self-will run riot, or the inside voice given a sort of a physical dynamic that we can see in this character, which manifests in darkness and looks scary, like a raven, but ultimately isn't. It's something that sort of transforms you, or transmutes you through the darkness into a light, so you can see, look down on the world from a different sort of 3,000-foot perspective. So there's a lot of comedy there as well. So it's not just binary, black and white darkness and good or evil, right? So it's a good playground to play with. So that's different, Third, how did I meet him? It's like literally, did I sit down with Venom and
Yeah, how did it go?
He never turned up to set because he was in a computer. Yeah, so he's been entirely designed by Paul Franklin and the artists that work on it. So I never met him. I just voiced him, and he wasn't there. So it's just me talking to myself.
Well, I hope you meet him someday.
I don't. always please.
We have another question.
Какие черты характера Эдди Брока, репортера, есть в актере Томе Харди?
I think we very well have answered this question.
That's what I
Is that
think.
what that's your voice. Sorry, that's.
Нет, вы не поняли, не совсем поняли вопрос. Не черты характера Венома, не какой-то внутренний голос, который говорит, что делать, а именно репортера Тома Харди. Sorry. Репортера Эдди Брока.
I think it's Eddie Brock is trying to do the right thing, and he tries to uncover. This isn't me. I'm just saying this is Eddie Brock, right? He's trying to uncover corruption and bad behavior, and speak on behalf of the people and do the right thing, regardless of the consequences. So ultimately, he's a flawed human being who's trying to do good, but will do not so good things in order to do good. So I like that. I think in some aspect, although I don't do the same thing as him, I can understand, and what I suppose I can identify with is the paradox of the human condition, whereby we're ultimately flawed. We may be pretty good at something, but we're not so good at other things, and that's a constant learning, of progression rather than perfection. Eddie Brock symbolizes, if you like, a character such as this, which I think is fundamentally more human than somebody with a really shiny pair of teeth and a facade of, well-meaning, but beneath the surface is also altruistic. I've not met anybody who is like that. So he's quite truthful in that aspect. Neither is he a hero, nor is he. I think he's a professional coward. That I have in common with him.
We don't believe you. Tom.
There you go, it is a paradox.
I hate to do this, but this is going to be the last question, and I can't pick the one who's gonna actually ask it. Can you do that?
Том, меня зовут Игорь, я приветствую в Москве и вообще в России еще раз. У меня один вопрос. Насколько я понял, ты достаточно хорошо разбираешься в Веноме, ты понял, какой он, поскольку ты подарил ему голос, ты подарил ему жизнь в кинематографе. И у меня простой вопрос. Исходя из всего того, что ты о нем знаешь, согласился бы ты на 24 часа в нашем мире, здесь и сейчас, стать им?
Good question.
That's an abstract question. And I appreciate the abstract nature of it. And it's also like a yes or no answer, really, doesn't it, in some aspect? And I'd like to volunteer more of an answer for you, but I'm on the fence. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the fact that I know a bit about him, not a lot about him, qualifies him being pleased with meeting me. You know, I might have got it wrong. And at the same time, yeah.
That we all, I mean, it's a poem that I wrote.
Yeah, you read it.
Wait, it was right here. Okay, so you have Comic-Con and we have a StarCon. And the fans of yours from StarCon did this little matryoshka for you, so you remember, right? This is actually one day longer, maybe two.
Please show it to cameras, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You want me to
open it? Is it sealed? Ah, that's it.
Only customs can
sealed.
open it.
It's sealed.
TSA key, you know, the special key that they have?
All right.
We'll see later. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tom Hardi.